Hello to all our Kids Country families. Welcome to the 2021-2022 school year. Since June of 2020, Kids Country employees have been serving your children not only through summer camps, but also through the remote and hybrid learning environments. Like you, we are excited for the new school year, and we are looking forward to bustling school campuses. I want to take this moment to once again thank all our families who have placed their trust in us, especially in the middle of this pandemic. Thank you for allowing us to be part of your children's lives in such an unusual time. I want to thank all our families who've supported our site teams, not only through your smiles and encouragement, but through the many generous donations, whether it was monetary or materials. What you have given to this organization has truly helped us thrive. There are many points in this roller coaster ride that we were not sure if we were going to make it to today, but we're really relieved that we're still here. Thank you for believing in us. Now, this video may seem familiar to you. I did a video recording when we reopened, prior to reopening in June of 2020. We recognize that many of our families are new to us this school year. And so I felt it was important to share some of the slides that may look familiar and provide any updates to what changes are affecting our programs, especially since we are still in the middle of this pandemic. And I hope this video answers any questions you may have. So what can you expect when you come to our programs? I think I want to add a little bit of a disclaimer that though we are on school grounds, and in many ways we are aligned with school district policies, as we are both informed by CDC and County Office of Public Health, we are asked to adhere to those regulations. There is some slight differences that you may see in our policies, and it is because we are governed by different bodies. For example, the school district is under, Department of Education. And though Kids Country is a private nonprofit, in order to provide childcare, we are regulated under Department of Social Services Community Care Licensing. You may find that in some cases, some of our policies may be more strict due to the regulations placed upon childcare. So I just want to put that note on there as we navigate, the school year, and you may see some different policies. In most cases, many of them align, but there are a few points that are a little bit different. So I'm going to go over some of the things that have been happening for our programs throughout this pandemic. We've updated many policies and procedures, and we continue to update many policies and procedures, especially as it relates to the pandemic. We've been trying to keep up with any changes, any recommendations that come down through CDC or through the Public Health Department. Obviously, our cleaning, sanitizing, and disinfecting policy has been in existence even prior to this pandemic, but we have revamped them in accordance to what is required of us due to COVID. Our staff have been trained, even the new employees that we've hired, they're required to go through a COVID-19 training provided through the CDC, our own policies and protocols that we've put in place. And in addition to that, through it's an infectious germ management policy that helps them understand the why and the how of cleaning, sanitizing, and disinfecting. So all these trainings have been put in place so that our staff are prepared to care for, and more importantly, provide a safe environment to you and especially your children. And they've been preparing their environments. Initially we had stripped a lot of our environments down, but they're back. They're back to our normal kids country, welcoming, home-like environments, ready to welcome your children back into the program and really creating as much as possible a normalized experience in our programs. So what are the regulations? Masking is obviously a huge piece of a requirement that has been put upon our programs. Just so you know, many of our children have been following the masking rules since June of 2020 and have done so successfully, I might say. Children, though I've been working in this field for a long time, children always seem to surprise me with their resiliency and their adaptability. So we still wear masks indoors. And fortunately, at the start of the summer, we've been able to remove masks outdoors, but we leave it at the choice of the children and the adults. Our teacher to child ratio is 1 adult for every group of 14 children. This has not changed. Initially, when we reopened in June, it was a lot lower, but this is the normal adult to child ratio for our programs. But Kids Country Standards, we try in many ways to lower those ratios just so that we could be a little bit more attentive and create those deep relationships with your children. Now, we do have an open door policy, or we normally do. But what we're going to ask from you is that, yes, visitors are welcome to our sites. However, it would truly help if you request and make an appointment with your site director should you have the need to visit the site. This may be a little challenging, especially for those who have not been able to come into our buildings prior, to this pandemic. And so we are scheduling tours all across our programs. Just be patient with us because we are really trying to minimize the number of people that are in our classrooms and really allowing to maintain, quote unquote, a stable group environment with the children that are enrolled and the scheduled employees that work at the site. Now, our cleaning, sanitizing, and disinfecting policy, like I said, has been in existence prior to this pandemic. We had already adopted NAEYC, which is the National Association for the Education of the Young Child. They have a frequency table on how often you clean, how often you sanitize and disinfect. I can tell you with what's going on with the pandemic, it is happening more frequently throughout the day. Now, our staff and our janitorial service, they were required and continue to be required to complete the integrated germ management certification through the California Department of Pesticide Regulation. And so this online training is, again, allowing our staff to understand the why and the how to properly clean, sanitize, and disinfect. We installed chemical mixing stations at all our sites to ensure proper water to chemical solution ratio. And this helps us to make sure that we're disinfecting our surfaces properly and with the right mix of those chemicals and water. So, like I said, our attention is always really creating this safe environment for our children and for our employees. Now, intake procedures. For those of you who have not experienced this yet, we're going to ask all our adults to wear a mask as part of drop-off or pickup procedures. We're still adhering to social distances. And then please check your child's wellness prior to bringing them to Kids Country. This will truly be a partnership effort to just keep everybody safe. And what that means is if your child isn't feeling well, keep them home. If your child is running a fever, please keep them home. Just any ailments and more so, not only for the comfort of your child, but also so that we don't spread spread the virus unintentionally. And then just communicate with your site and with your site director um, if any of those cases come up. So for those of you who haven't been at Kids Country, what we've been doing is designating a drop off and pickup area at every location. There will be a staff member that will, most likely the site director, that will be outside of the building to welcome you and your child. And staff will be signing in your child. You'll be able to enter our buildings with an appointment, but otherwise we really do minimize who is entering our building just to keep the stable groups intact as much as possible. We encourage children to bring an extra pair of clothes and a reusable water bottle. Just refrain from bringing any toys, special toys from home, just because we don't want them to get lost. And you know what? I also recommend to bring an extra mask. Once your child is dropped off, we ask that you wait until a staff member takes their temperature using a touchless thermometer, and then they'll be escorted inside the building to put away their things and wash their hands. So this is our normal procedure when the child comes to the programs. Now, if your child is coming directly to us from the school, a lot of these protocols are the same, but they'll be coming directly to our building and we will be signing them in. We do pick up our TKs and kindergartners directly from their classroom. And usually in the first few days of school, staff will usually be out in the field just to help direct any children where they need to go. Now for pickup procedures, consider this a concierge service. What you can do, once again, is please wear a mask as part of drop-off and pickup procedures. And again, the social distancing practices. Call at least 10 minutes prior to arriving the site. This will allow us to help transition your child, help them say goodbye to their friends, gather their belongings, and a staff member will escort your child to the drop-off area and release the child directly to you. Staff will sign your child out via iPad. And if somebody else other than those who are listed on their emergency cards will be picking up, please email the site director and please inform your person to please bring their picture ID. I would be in the practice of having that picture ID on hand, especially in the first few weeks of school, so that our employees can get to know who are the main adults in the child's family and will be able to release them properly. So just be patient with us as we get to know adults, and now with a mask. So we thank you for your patience ahead of time. Now, many of you have probably seen our health and wellness agreements for families. Please know that our Kids Country employees also sign similar agreements. Many of the points that are on there is just make sure that your child is well before bringing them to the site. Please know that we are proceeding with such an abundance of caution so that any sign of illness will result in a request for your child to be picked up. So if you can help us with that, that would greatly help mitigate the risk of exposure at our locations. We will be taking your child's temperature prior to entry to the building, and that includes our employees as well. And then please inform your staff at the site if there's any illness, diagnosed or suspected COVID-19 cases in your household or in your circle of contact. And one of the things that I know is sometimes challenging, especially this past summer, is around travel. So if any of you travel by mass transportation, and so that like airplane, trains, buses, or if you travel internationally or to a high risk with COVID-19, it may result in a request from us that you quarantine or that your child quarantines for 10 days. We encourage testing 3 to 5 days after your child's return from travel. And then, but there is still a quarantine of 7 days. So we are following CDC and Contra Costa County travel guidelines in regards to this particular policy. So if you have any questions, please reach out to your site director. And once again, our employees follow the same policy. So face masks is an important part of It's just a layer of protection that we adhere to and we've been adhering to since June of 2020. Again, we all know children ages 2 and under are not required to wear masks. So what that means is because most of her children are close to 5 years of age and older, all children will be asked to wear masks when indoors, um, except during meal times, of course. And then children and employees can remove their masks while playing outdoors, or they could choose to keep them on. And just in case, pack a backup mask for your child. So, unfortunately, with COVID increasing in our communities, we have COVID protocols that I want you to be aware of and how we handle it should we be made aware of a positive COVID-19 case. If we are made aware that an individual who has been inside our programs has tested positive for COVID-19, we close the site immediately for a period of 10 days up to 2 weeks. We notify the Contra Costa County tracing investigation team, contact tracing investigation team, who will then instruct us on next steps. And most definitely, you will receive a letter directly from me. Our employees also are notified, the school and the district office of the positive COVID-19 case. We work closely with the schools so that they also have the opportunity to initiate their protocols and vice versa. So the site is then scheduled for a cleaning and disinfecting, fogging for the children and employees' return. The one piece is that when this does happen, especially those who are considered close contact, they're asked to quarantine for a minimum of 10 days, or until, unfortunately, if they are have contracted COVID-19, they are then asked to not return until after 24 hours without medication. All employees are also asked to get a COVID-19 test and are not able to return until those test results are negative. We strongly recommend that you get your child tested in these cases, but I truly am hoping that we won't have to deal with them. I want to switch a little bit and talk about our registration process. School Care Works, you're able to access School Care Works if you need to update your child's information, any emergency contacts, review your account, add or delete any automatic payment info. However, we're not using School Care Works to manage enrollment. And the reason is we're holding enrollment really tight as we are not yet functioning at capacity. We're trying to move slowly. We're intentionally moving slowly in that direction, primarily because we are facing a staffing crisis, but also to manage risk exposure for your children and for our employees. If you want to make changes to your contract, please reach out to your site director directly. Many of our Kids Country locations, and unfortunately, have a wait list, and this is really to ensure the safety of our environments. And as we enroll more employees and get them trained, we'll be opening up those wait list spots. So if you know of anybody who may be interested and who loves working with children, please feel free to refer them to us. So I want to thank you for this time. I hope this was a little bit helpful in terms of what to expect when you bring your child. Outside of these protocols, it's still our Kids Country programs. We're very just blessed to have the employees that we have who truly care for your children and are excited to welcome them to the new school year. There's activities being planned. They're ready to provide that support for homework and just ready to support your child's social emotional development, their physical development, their creativity, and really their dreams. And so I just want to thank you for trusting Kids Country for the care of your children. And I want to wish you and your families a successful 2021-2022 school year. Thank you and have a wonderful day.